I'd like to welcome you to the Elmore County Commission work session dated Monday, January 14th, 2019. I'll call this meeting to order. We'd like to begin with a special item, the recognition of Highway Department Superintendent Lee Colley for his public service to Elmore County. I'm going to turn the time over to Mr. Byer for the presentation.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for allowing me a few minutes to share some information with you about Lee. Back in 2003, I got a phone call one day from our then County Administrator, Jeanette Metters. I'll stand over here so I can see Lee. She told me that there were these two gentlemen, a father and son, that were working in Tallapoosa County, and the county had cutbacks, and they had to lay some employees off, and that if we had any openings, that we really needed to have a conversation with those two gentlemen. And at first I was a little skeptical. I didn't really know what to think. I didn't know, it wasn't very well familiar with our administrator and how her recommendations would go. And I interviewed Lee and his dad, and I would say it's probably one of the best interviews that I've ever had as an employee here in Elmore County. Since that time, Lee has gone from being a project inspector and our bridge inspector and taken our bridge inspection program to levels that other counties just would envy having. Being able to put it on a cycle where it wasn't an overwhelming task every 2 years. He made it to where it was just something standard that was in our work week and in our months leading up to the tape having to be submitted to Washington every year. And he took project inspection to a level to where his expertise from the contracting side, just added a wealth of knowledge to some young guys, including me at that time, that had some experience but really need to be taught what it was like to be out in the real world and deal with real situations, and not just what you find in a textbook and how you deal with situations. So he worked for a little bit of time in the project inspection, bridge inspection area for us, and then the opportunity came up where our superintendent at that time retired, and I actually approached Lee and talked to Lee about the possibility of him applying and interviewing for that job. And I think he was a little skeptical on the front end, but that's probably the best move that I was able to make as the county engineer, was hiring Lee. For the last 15 plus years, Lee has dedicated his life to this county, and he has done things that we probably will be lucky to see again in the tenure of this county. And not only was he responsible for the upkeep of the bridges, even after he became superintendent, he still stayed involved in the bridge inspection program, and Adam Turner owes a lot of his experience, both life experiences and technical experience, to Lee, and Lee bringing him along and kind of mentoring him. He oversaw and was part of 12 federal aid bridge replacements. He has touched just about all of our county drainage structures in one way or the other, and I literally mean touch. I couldn't find a good picture. You've got some pictures up on the screen here, but I couldn't find a good one that he's most famous for. If something needed to be cleaned out or something needed to be inspected, Lee was the first one in there. Didn't matter what the smell was like or what the watercolor was. He'd be in there doing his job and getting things taken care of. And so he's played a large role in that. We've had 620 miles of roads resurfaced or preserved during his tenure, and you may think, well, all the federal aid money had to be got to do that work, but there's a lot of prep work that goes into that, and Lee took painstaking detail to take what the engineering staff had as an idea and make sure it happened in the field, and he did that with precision and to great detail. During his tenure, about 10 miles of dirt roads have been paved, and many more have been improved from the time that we both got here in 2003. 150 miles of road restriped and marked during his time. He saw two major road and bridge programs occur during his tenure, many of which either he was inspecting or he was involved in, and that would be the Garvey and A-Trip program. We completed close to $75 million of projects during that time frame, And almost as impressively, during that tenure, he helped manage $60 million worth of maintenance work being done in the county. So $135 million worth of work done by the county during his tenure. Numerous tornado, hurricane, flood, ice storm, windstorm responses, many hours in the middle of the night where sometimes I didn't even know as county engineer they had handled it until early the next morning, and he calls me and makes sure I'm aware of what was handled overnight. So when I got to the office, things were ready to go. Many times he was in positions to where, like I said, he was giving reports and handling things that many of the commissioners and many of the citizens didn't even know occurred. And probably the one thing that I think I believe he should be most proud of is during his tenure, we've had 185 employees roll through the highway department in that 15-year time frame. And Lee has played a pivotal role in just about every one of those employees' lives, and not just by being a boss, a mentor, a friend, but spiritually, Lee is just a man that you want in your corner with you when the going gets tough and you need some guidance. And he's not afraid to pull anybody aside, including somebody that he technically worked for, but I never viewed as him working for me. We worked together, and he would call me aside and have a conversation with me and say, here's what's going on, I want you to know about it. And you don't know how much that I appreciate that during my time frame, especially since I was in a lot of those scenarios cutting my teeth too. So Lee, if you'll come up here, we've got something that we want to give to you, and I've got it in two formats for you because I know you well. The slides that are up here highlighted some of the projects that I went back through and found that we had of you. And I don't know if everybody's looking at the slides as they're listening to me, but there's a lot of them where you see Lee standing like this, and that's kind of his famous pose when we were out on a project, because he's thinking right there. You go, there's one right there. He's thinking about what's about to happen and what he's about to do, or what I'm about to ask him to do, or how we're about to innovate something. So we have a book that's got all those in there, but there's also a flash drive in there, so you can load it on your digital media player, and you'll be able to see that. And I don't think there'll be a replacement for Lee Colley. We just hope that we get somebody that can try to follow in your footsteps. You've done great work, and I greatly appreciate everything that you've done for us. And personally, for me, I can't thank you enough. Thank you very much, sir. It's yours.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to serve here in this capacity for these years that I have served here. I'm not a public speaker, so I'll make it short. I don't know, what I can compare this to. This has been one of the greatest challenges that I've ever had as far as occupation. I worked in construction all my life. But I told Richie whenever he put me in this position, I could see this becoming more of an administrative job. And I think that's the way it turned out. I really like to work, but I also like to work with people. And so I've worked with some of the greatest people that this county has got, as far as engineers, commissioners, and all the guys out on the construction crew. You can ask for a greater group of people, a more dedicated group of people to work with, and I'm just thankful to have been a small part of it. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Lee, can you come up here and we'll get a picture with you? Yeah, come on around. We appreciate Superintendent Colley, and we appreciate Richie and the Highway Department putting together that presentation and all that information to share with us. We'll proceed now with our regular business, a review of the minutes of the December 10, 2018 Commission meeting. Any comments or questions there? Proceeding, we'll move to review the memorandum of warrants for the period of December 4, 2018 through January 8, 2019. Mr. Byer?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, during that time frame, the memorandum of warrants was $2,587,978.62.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? We'll proceed now to the public hearing. Public hearing for a 050 retail beer off-premises only and a 070 retail table wine off-premises only liquor license application for Quick Sack 2 by Wallsboro, Inc., 10860 U.S. Highway 231, Wetumpka, Alabama, 36092. Is there anyone here to speak for or against this? You represent this business. What is your name? Can you come over here? Thank you.
Myself, Rinal Patel, and I'm a member of the Quick Sack 2 INC.
Okay, member of the LLC. All right. Do you have any comments for us regarding this? Just a request?
Just a request for this wine and liquor.
Okay.
Wine and
Thank you.
beer license.
Any comments or questions from commissioners?
You have several locations, correct?
Yes, sir. I have the next to the Wallsboro, like Marathon Wallsboro. Then we have the Titus, Kim's Corner. Then we have in Wetumpka, Marathon, couple of them.
Okay.
Yeah. You have several locations.
Yes, sir.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
We'll proceed now with old business. Discuss adopting the personnel policies and procedures of Elmore County, Alabama. As many of you are aware, we have worked diligently over the last probably almost 18 months now in putting together a review of the policies and procedures manual that was in place for the last 15 plus years, and updating that and modifying it to reflect the current work environment that we all are in here in the county, and provide opportunities for our employees and some of our department heads to have better clarification as to their expectations and the opportunities that they have in working for the county. Commissioner Reeves worked with many of the department heads and other elected officials, along with our county attorney and others, to put this together. It was put out for a review from our last meeting on December 10th. We put that out for review for the employees and staff and administrators to review, and now tonight it's up for us to consider adopting that personnel policies and procedures manual for the county. Are there any comments or questions from commissioners regarding the proposed policies and procedures manual?
Mr. Chairman, I know when we took office in 2016, I remember hearing Commissioner Reeves comment that this was one of his priorities, that it had been many years since this manual and procedures policy had been updated. And I'd like to thank everyone involved, particularly Commissioner Reeves, for taking leadership and spearheading this initiative. And thank you, Commissioner Reeves. I second that.
One of the things that I know, if without the full body of this commissioner being behind me, then we never could have got it done. But all of them was in favor of going forward with this, and I think we made a wise decision for our employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Byers, you have some things?
The only thing I wanted to mention was, since the employees had a chance to view it in department heads, we've had a couple minor grammatical things that need to be corrected. So when you do take this up, I just like y'all to know that, or put that in your motion, just to make those minor revisions. I'm talking about words repeated, stuff like that needs to be corrected. Nothing of any
No
substance.
material changes, just
Yes, sir.
grammatical and
Yes,
typo type stuff. Okay. Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
Chairman, I'd just like to echo what was said about the gratefulness for Commissioner Reeves' leadership in this effort, and I especially am glad that he involved the department heads, getting their comments, not outsourcing this effort to some vendor to bring us some document back that would have to review. We actually involved those that would have to be tasked with executing the policy procedure. So I want to say thank you for taking the lead role in this effort.
Thank you. All right, we'll proceed now. Discuss 3 appointments to the Healthcare Authority Board, appointment due January 14, 2019. As many of you are aware, we've had a lot of turnover on the Healthcare Authority Board. We've had numerous submissions for candidates for these 3 positions on the board. The candidates listed are Daniel Thompson, Earl Reiser, Hertazine Crenshaw, Linda Lewis, Jason Britt, Frank Bertarelli, and Desiree Lewis. Again, there are 3 positions. It's my understanding, having worked on numerous boards in the past and observed boards that function in a high capacity, it's obviously important to have a qualified board, meaning find individuals who have certain skill sets who can contribute to that board, who represent a diverse group and obviously have the intent and the desire to do what's best for the county. And in looking at our procedures to this point with regards to board appointments, it was a difficult task in many instances for the county commission to identify candidates, because we just got names and we often didn't have information, and we might try to call people and not get in touch with them before the meeting, and we didn't know what their real interest was. We didn't know if somebody else put their name in the hat or if they were truly interested. And so at our December meeting, we put out that any candidates for board positions would fill out a document that would provide us with some of their background, their skill sets, and their desire specifically to serve on that board. Why do they want to serve on that particular board? And I'm happy to say that, if I'm not mistaken, we received that form back from every one of these candidates, which is a great turnaround for getting their responses, which allows us to make better decisions in these individual appointments. Are there any specific comments or questions from any commissioners regarding any of the listed candidates?
Chairman, I'm encouraged to see the list of people that we have here. These people are very highly qualified. We've got some on here that have a great construction background, accountant. For instance, one of the Daniel Thompson, I know for a fact he has already attended some of the meetings to find if he truly wanted to be a part. And what some people may not realize is this board actually manages about $1 million a year of taxpayers' dollars. They go straight from the Revenue Commissioner's office to this board. So we need people on this board that are qualified and have the ability to manage that large amount of money.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm certainly impressed with this list, and I might add that Ms. Desiree Lewis has certainly expressed interest in being on the board, and she is a certified attorney. I feel like that would be a big plus on the board with the amount of responsibility that they have.
Thank you.
Is she not, her brother is a judge, is that correct?
That's correct.
Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman, I don't take it away from anyone on here, but I think all of these are very qualified people on this list.
Yes. Thank you. And I hope that we'll continue to have pools of candidates for various board positions and identify people in our community who have a great desire to contribute in whatever manner presents itself, and hopefully we'll continue to have that level of interest from community members As Commissioner Mercer indicated, the Healthcare Authority Board does manage approximately $1 million a year, which is part of state legislation of 50-plus years ago that 1 mil of your property taxes go to the Hospital Authority Board, which supports, it was established many, many years ago to support rural hospitals, and that is still the case. So they obviously represent and are entrusted with the care of that money, which is taxpayer dollars and goes to the health care in our community. So I appreciate all the comments from commissioners. If nothing more, we'll move to discuss appointment to the Horseshoe Bend Regional Library Board. Appointment due January 14, 2019. Candidates listed: Diana French, Deborah Holt. Are there any comments or questions regarding either of these candidates listed?
Mr. Barr, I know we had Ms. Holt's information, her candidate request form and her resume in our packet, and we got Ms. French's candidate request form this afternoon. But do I understand this correctly, that the person who was previously serving in this position did not seek reappointment? This will be a new person.
That's correct.
To fill the position. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you. We'll proceed now. Discuss appointment to the EMS Board. Appointment due January 14, 2019. Candidate listed: Eric Jones. Any comments or questions regarding this potential, this candidate or the appointment to the EMS Board?
Chairman, as a representative for the Commission on the EMS Board, I'd just like to say, of course, Eric has been was our former EMA director. He's been serving in that capacity on this board, and he would surely be a great asset to have back on that board.
Thank you. And I'm reminded that the position that is open at the EMS Board is from the recent chairman of the EMS Board, City Councilman Greg Jones, who tendered his resignation from the board in December. And part of his resignation letter was a recommendation for Eric Jones to be put back on the board. Eric was a part of that board for about 15 years, or since its establishment. Obviously has a lot of working knowledge of that, and I know I have spoken with Eric, and I'm sure many of my fellow commissioners have as well, to make sure that he would have a desire or a willingness to serve in that capacity, and he indicated he did. Any other comments or questions there? All right, thank you. We'll proceed now with new business. Discuss appointment to the CEWSA Board. Appointment due January 28, 2019. Candidate listed: Fred Braswell.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
In reviewing his credentials, I don't think we could find a better candidate. Are you familiar with him, Commissioner Doctor?
I am. I first met Mr. Braswell probably 35 years ago. He served in corporate management roles. He's worked with ADECA on the state level. He's an attorney, although he doesn't practice. He's always been in management. He has a world of experience in the water authority business and so forth. And I certainly think he's a very well qualified candidate. One of the best resumes I've ever seen for a water board.
He also served as a CEO or chairman of the Alabama Rural Electric Corporation.
That's right.
Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
For the state of Alabama.
Yeah.
So I don't think we could find a better candidate, my personal opinion.
Thank you. I appreciate the comments. I think I'm almost certain that all the commissioners received his information. I know I received information in an email. I will point out that this board appointment is due on January 28th, which is our next meeting. And the reason this appointment is necessary is this Water Authority Board has been operating for about 6 weeks with just two board members due to the passing of a board member, and that's why there's a replacement necessary, is the death of a board member. And our next item on the agenda is consider suspending the rules of the Elmore County Commission regarding a 30-day board appointment policy concerning the CEWSA board appointment. This would simply allow us to proceed and get an appointment or someone in that position on January 28th, which would be our next meeting. Because we only had one meeting in December, it kind of throws off our 30-day requirement, and they have been functioning for some time with just two board members, and they've asked, we received a letter from their chairman requesting that we accelerate the process. But that does not mean that we cannot have any other potential candidates. We have between now and the 28th for other candidates or any recommendations from any commissioners for candidates to submit their letter of interest and fill out one of our forms for our consideration on the 28th. Any other comments or questions?
I agree that we should consider suspending the rules so that we could move forward.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Wade Johnson, as you pointed out, passed away, and he served faithfully and proficiently on that water board for many years, and we certainly offer our condolences to Mr. Wade's family.
Thank you. All right, we'll proceed now. We've already discussed or introduced the suspension of the 30-day board appointment policy to accommodate their request, so an appointment would be made on the 28th of January. Proceeding, discuss ratifying Town of Elmore's appointment of Christopher Sisson to the EMS board. Any comments or questions there? Proceeding, discuss appointment to the CEWSA board, appointment due March 1, 2019, candidate William Bill Newton. And this is the same board that we have been discussing. It's my understanding that this is not an emergency. This is just due to the expiration of a term and the recommendation for the reappointment of Mr. Newton. Any other comments there? All right, we'll proceed. Discuss authorizing chairman and or CEOO to execute planned service agreement with Johnson Controls for jail boilers. Mr. Byer.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, as part of our energy project, a number of the boilers were changed out in the jail. Now they've reached a time frame where they're out of their warranty and need a preventative maintenance program in place. This contract is similar to many other contracts we have for the HVAC systems in our buildings. It ranges from $5,200 on the front end to $5,600 at the end of the 3-year contract. Because it's a 3-year contract, it comes before you for consideration tonight.
Thank you. Any comments or questions there? All right, we'll proceed. Discuss petition to vacate an unnamed road off Hummingbird Lane. Mr. Byer.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is a petition that we received to vacate not only an unnamed road but an undeveloped road in a subdivision off of Hummingbird Lane. Hummingbird Lane is in District 1. It's just off of US 231, just north of the Collier Bridge, I believe. The attorney can comment on this, but everything now is in order for this petition and for us to be able to set up the public hearing in early February for you to consider the vacation. Just as a point of order that at that time, if you do consider that, Commissioner Holt, being in his district, will have to make the motion to vacate that stretch of road. Okay.
And I'm in agreement with us doing that, Mr. Byer.
Mr. Courtney, do you have anything to add?
No, sir, not really. The petitioners are the only contiguous owners. So.
Okay. So there's no contiguous owners that are in opposition of this?
I don't see how there could be. No.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, we'll proceed now to the consent docket. Approve surplus and sale disposal of miscellaneous computers and electronics. Any comments there, Mr. Byer?
This is routine house cleaning, getting rid of machines and office equipment that's out of date.
Thank you. one of the items that probably wasn't addressed in our policy and procedure manual 15 years ago, when there was not a with devices, there was not the devices that went obsolete after a few years because of updated technology. So, approved proposed plat for Coventry Plat 1, and approved travel memo. Any comments or questions on any of those items? All right, we'll proceed now. Personnel notifications. Notification of hire of Antonio Sedaris, Equipment Operator 2, fill vacant position, effective 1/22/19. Notification of hire of Samuel Brown, Part-Time Equipment Operator 1, fill budgeted part-time position, effective 2/22/2019. Notification of hire of Stephanie Gates, Tag Clerk, replace A. Walker Sims, effective 12/26/2018. Notification of return from military leave of Blake Hicks, Deputy, effective 12/13/2018. Notification of hire of Brian Combita Castablanco, Corrections Officer, replace T. Hess, effective 12/10/2018. Notification of promotion of William Robbins, Deputy to Investigator, replace R. Brouillard, effective 1/21/2019. Notification of hire of Zachary Summerlin, Deputy, replace W. Robbins, effective 1/20/2019. Notification of resignation of Audrey McCord, Intelligence Analyst, effective 12/14/2018. Notification of transfer of Richard Brouillard, Investigator, to Drug Task Force, effective 1/21/2019. Notification of resignation of Sunil Syriac, Chief Financial Officer, effective 12/21/2018. Proceed now with reports to the Commission. Mr. Byer.
Mr. Chairman, I only have two items. One, in the application from QuickSack 2, one item that Ms. Kim brought to my attention is that's actually a transfer from the Jones Shell. Just for clarification, that is a transfer. The other item in front of you, you've got this large sheet of paper that talks about our 2018 year in review. Several of you have asked just about a listing of some of the things that have been done in county government over the last year. So the chairman and I talked, and we thought it'd be a good idea to put together a year in review, just kind of give you a little snippet of everything that was done. We believe we've done a pretty good job staff-wise to capture everything. I imagine we forgot something, but this should give you a pretty good idea of some of the things that have been done over the last 12 months, in some cases 13 months. But I'll be glad to give this to the Wetumpka Herald too, so they have a copy, and they're more than welcome to follow up on some of these and see some noteworthy things that have been done by county employees, county departments, and the county, led by the county commission. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have in the way of report. Do you have any questions or comments for me?
Is Commissioner Mercer's Twitter award on here?
Yes, sir, it is on there.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
It is on there. I made sure.
All right.
It was a lot of hard work.
He's our resident tweeter. All right, we'll proceed now with reports from the Commission. Commissioner Holt.
I appreciate each and every one of you being here tonight, and it's good that we have people here so that they can hear what the county is doing, the business that we're doing. It's just good. And also I'd like to say to Richie that I appreciate what Lee Colley has done in his service to the county, and we got a number of county employees that are doing good jobs, and we appreciate that. And I'd just like to thank them all, and hope that we continue to work hard to keep them positive and in the right frame of mind to do their jobs. And I know you do that, Richie, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Daughtry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate everybody coming out. I'd specifically like to offer condolences and prayers to the family of the Birmingham police officer, the sergeant that was killed recently, and to the other officer that was injured, and their families, the mayor of Birmingham, the city council. I'm sure they're going through a very trying time, and the entire area up there. So I certainly would like for us to keep them in our prayers and our thoughts as they're going through this very difficult time.
Thank you. Commissioner Mercer.
Thank you, Chairman. This past week I attended the quarterly meeting of the Elmore County Firefighter Association. At this meeting, they elected officers. For many, many years, John Wilson has served as president of the association, and he chose not to seek re-election this year. A very capable chief in our county, Larry Brown from Millbrook Fire Department, will now be the association president. But I just want to say thank you very much to John Wilson for his years of serving, not only in his local fire department in Hopeful, but on the county-wide level. These guys and gals that serve on our volunteer fire departments, they provide a service that you just wouldn't believe. In fact, I heard within the last 2 weeks, I heard them set the tones off, and there was a lady that couldn't cut her water off in her house. Her house is flooding. When nobody else knows who to call, they call the volunteer fire department, and of course someone responded and helped her cut her water off. And of course they do that plus respond to accidents and house fires and most anything you can imagine. So I say that to say this: if you see someone that has a volunteer fire department shirt on or hat on, please thank them for what they do. They don't get paid for it. They will get up in the middle of the night and go to your house or wherever you are to help you. So please tell them thank you. That's all I have, Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Reeves.
I don't have anything. I just want to wish everyone a blessed and a happy New Year.
Thank you. I'd like to mention a couple of items. Obviously, as Commissioner Reeves indicated, a new year and new opportunities. We have plenty of work to be done and opportunities before us as a county commission and as a county as a whole. This morning, we witnessed the swearing in of a new probate judge, Judge John Thornton. We appreciate Judge Insland's service, and we look forward to working with Judge Thornton. He's been diligently preparing for this over the last couple of months and spending a lot of time up here so that he can hit the ground running and continue to serve the citizens of Elmore County as Judge Insland did, and Judge Stubbs and Judge Insland before them. And with regards to the item Mr. Byer mentioned, the 2018 year in review, oftentimes we get caught up in the day-to-day operations, and we wake up in the morning with every intention to do certain things, but we find ourselves just reacting to what's happening in the day. We're not sure what's going to happen, but we just react. And when we go through the day like that and react, we oftentimes lose sight of the things that we're accomplishing. And so my hope in doing this was for us to be able to reflect on a very successful year in many different ways, and look for areas that we can improve on and build upon. And a couple of things I'd just like to briefly mention, and again, we can provide this list to anyone who's interested. We embarked on something that most counties will not do, and that is a salary and pay study, and we did that in-house. We didn't go out and hire a firm to do that for us. We did it in-house. It was comprehensive. It involved a lot of detail. We included every department head and every elected official in that study. We reviewed it all with them, and we feel that we've started the path towards improving the conditions of our employees and the compensation that they receive, which in turn will lead to retention and keeping people, talented people working for the county. We also worked and have been working on our preparations for the 2020 census, which is vitally important for not only our county but for the state of Alabama. We have implemented and integrated social media platforms to better correspond with the citizens of Elmore County. We have embarked on hashtag Operation Spring Clean, which we will continue this year, which is the county commission, county employees, and all of the school systems in our area to do a better job of cleaning up our county and collecting litter and getting rid of that, and hopefully changing some people's mentality about that. And another item I'll mention, again, there's a lot, and I'm just picking out a few, but we've also, at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, we added 5 new deputies to the Sheriff's Department for some for a very specific purpose, which was to ensure that we had a law enforcement presence in our courtrooms at the judicial complex. I was unaware when I took office that we were one we were the only county in the state of Alabama that did not have law enforcement in their courtrooms. And with the things that we see and hear in the news, we recognize that that was very important, and we were able to provide Sheriff Franklin with the staff necessary to ensure the safety of all who participate in the legal process. So that's a few things. I hope that you'll take the time to review those, share those with others, and look forward to a great 2019. Kimberly?
The important calendar dates. This Thursday, January 17th, will be the district meeting in Prattville at the Prattville Hotel and Conference Center at 6 o'clock. Monday, January 21st, the courthouse will be closed in observance of Honorarium Day. Monday, January 28th, there's a Life South blood drive at the administrative complex from 11 to 4 p.m. We also have a commission meeting on January 28th at 5 o'clock with a business meeting following. Saturday, February 9th is our next countywide cleanup day from 9 to 1, noting the rotating location is the Town of Tusada Post Office. And then the courthouse will also be closed on February 11th, 2019 for George Washington and Thomas Jefferson's birthdays.
Thank you. We'll reconvene shortly. I'd like to welcome you to the Elmore County Commission business meeting dated Monday, January 14, 2019. I'll call this meeting to order. We'll begin with an invocation offered by Commissioner Mercer, following which I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for letting us come here tonight safely, Father. We thank you for blessing us in so many ways, Lord, in ways that we probably don't even realize, Lord. You're the great and mighty one, and we thank you for loving us. Father, we just ask that you bless us in our efforts to serve our citizens. We ask that you be with a family that has lost the loved one, the police officer in Birmingham, Father. We just ask that you give them comfort, Father. We love you. Amen.
Amen. Stand join me in the pledge.
Commissioner Holt?
Here.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Here.
Chairman Stubbs?
Here.
Commissioner Mercer?
Here.
Commissioner Reeves?
Here. All right, we'll proceed with our regular business. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the December 10, 2018 Commission meeting as presented during work session?
Motion approved. Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the memorandum of warrants for the period of December 4, 2018 through January 8, 2019?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Go ahead.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
All right, we'll proceed with old business. Is there a motion to approve a 050 retail beer off premises only and a 070 retail table wine off premises only liquor license transfer application from Jones Shell to Quick Sack 2 by Wallsboro Inc., 10860 U.S. Highway 231, Wetumpka, Alabama 36092.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve adopting the personnel policies and procedures of Elmore County, Alabama upon final review from County Attorney?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
All right, for the Healthcare Authority Board, we'll do these individually. Does anyone like to nominate an individual?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to place in the nomination the name of Ms. Desiree Lewis.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there another candidate?
Chairman, I'd like to bring forth Daniel Thompson's name for consideration.
Thank you, Daniel Thompson. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
All right, and we have a third appointment. Is there a third candidate to be brought forth?
Earl Reiser. Nominate Earl Reiser.
Commissioner Reeves nominates Earl Reiser. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
All right, we'll proceed now to the Horseshoe Bend Regional Library Board. Is there a nominee to be brought forth?
I looked at the paper. I would like to nominate Ms. Deborah Holt. She was been involved in that library.
Okay. Ms. Deborah Holt is nominated. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a motion to approve? Well, we've got the motion. Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
I abstain.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve appointing Eric Jones to the EMS Board?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Proceeding to new business. Is there a motion to approve suspending the rules of the Elmore County Commission regarding a 30-day board appointment policy concerning the CEWSA board appointment?
I make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve ratifying Town of Elmore's appointment of Christopher Sisson to the EMS board?
Make that motion.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve authorizing chairman and/or CEOO to execute planned service agreement with Johnson Controls for jail boilers?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve setting a public hearing to consider the petition to vacate an unnamed road off Hummingbird Lane on February 25, 2019?
I make a motion.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the consent docket as presented?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Proceeding with personnel notifications, notification of hire of Antonio Sedaris, Equipment Operator 2, fill vacant position effective 1/22/2019. Notification of hire of Samuel Brown, Part-Time Equipment Operator 1, fill budgeted part-time position effective 2/22/2019. Notification of hire of Stephanie Gates, Tag Clerk, replace A. Walker Sims, effective 12/26/2018. Notification of return from military leave of Blake Hicks, Deputy, effective 12/13/2018. Notification of hire of Brian Cumbita Castablanco, Corrections Officer, replace T. Hess, effective 12/10/2018. Notification of promotion of William Robbins, Deputy to Investigator, replace R. Brouillard, effective 1/21/2019. Notification of hire of Zachary Summerlin, Deputy, replace W. Robbins, effective 1/20/2019. Notification of resignation of Audrey McCord, Intelligence Analyst, effective 12/14/2018. Notification of transfer of Richard Brouillard, Investigator, to Drug Task Force, effective 1/21/2019. Notification of resignation of Sunil Syriac, Chief Financial Officer, effective 12/21/2018. With regards to one item on our work session, with regards to important calendar dates, February 11th was listed as a holiday. It's actually February 18th. We will be closed for President's Day. That's February 18th, not February 11th. Any additional reports to the Commission from Mr. Byer or any others? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.